Good afternoon, second year students, and also happy morning. Last class, we were discussed about CSS rules. That is the very important in cascade style sheets. The selector in CSS rule, selector is very important. Here the structure, that is declaration block like header 1 to 6, then declaration part color colon blue, and separated by sizes, that is for font sizes, declaration part, curly bracket they are used to close. It is a CSS rule consists of selector and declaration block. So this is very important in CSS rule. Then afterwards selector, CSS selector. So CSS selector, you can select all within open tag and close tag element of the page, like in this case all P element will be center aligned with red text colors. It is one of the selector. CSS are used to find the HTML element based on their element name, ID, class, attribute and more. It is one of the important. And ID selector. Here ID selectors attribute of HTML element to select a specific element. So the select an element with a specific ID, write a hash character followed by the ID of the element. The style rule below will be applied to the HTML element with ID equal to within quote para 1. So the ID name cannot start with a number but can start with a character. Then class selector element with a specific attribute to select element a specific class, write a period within bracket, write a element dot character followed by the name of the class. So here the HTML element with the class equal to within double quote center. So this will be red and center aligned examples. So here class name cannot start with a number. All it is default. Class name not start with a number. You can specify one specific HTML element should be affected by the class. If anything name may be different, so that will be affected by a class. Here in this element only P elements with class equal to center will be center aligned. Example, HTML element can be referred to the more than one class. Then page element within open tag and close tag, element will be styled according to the class equal to center and to class equal to large within quote. Large and center is with this quote. It is central aligned, here large. Then three way to insert CSS: external style sheets, internal style sheets, inline style sheets. Three way. External style sheet, what will happen? Here with an external style sheets, you can change the look of the entire websites by change just one file. Okay, external style sheet means that is available in your hard drive or outside. So that file once you are uploaded, you can change the look of the entire websites by changing just one file. Each page must include refer to the external style sheets file inside the link element. So the link element goes inside the head section. Okay, so here separate link element you have to use in the external style sheets that refer into the external style sheets file inside the link element. Link element only that can refer outside external. So the link element goes inside the head section, and external style sheets can be written in any text editor. The file should not contain any HTML tags. The style sheets file must be saved with a .css extension. The file should not contain an HTML tag. That style sheets must be saved with .css extension only. So then only that it is that link change the looks of the entire website by changing just one file. This and all we'll see in practical. The internal style sheets. Internal style sheets means within the system must be used if one single page has a unique style. One single page, it is an unique style. You can use style tag. The internal styles are defined within the style element inside the head. Inside the head you can define style element, the section of the HTML page. A section of the HTML pages means starts with HTML code, HTML only. Inside head, that is the important head, title. That after that only section of the HTML page only you can use style element. Then automatically internal style sheets will work in the website. Inline style. Inline style may be used to apply unique style for a single element. So inline style attribute to relevant element. The style attribute can contain any CSS property. So add the style attribute to the relevant element. The style attribute can contain any CSS property. The element below show how to change color and left margin of a heading element, H1 element. So here inline style, it is an unique style. Don't forget about that. For the single element, it is an unique style. The style attribute can contain CSS property, and the how to change the color and left margin of a H1 element. So the tips and examples. Inline style loses many of the advantages of the style sheets. So mixing content with presentations, but they inline style sheets may many of the advantages, but inline style loses many of the advantages of style sheets. That is only drawback for the inline styles of CSS cascade style sheets. This is normally fourth unit. Third unit, the practical sheets not available. Trim viewer. So that will discuss. Trim viewer will discuss after third unit. Here the division function, div function, div tag, it define and usages defines a divisions or a sections in an HTML document. The div element often used as a container for the HTML element to style them CSS and perform certain tasks with JavaScript. So div is define a division. Div tag define a divisions or sections of an HTML section. So here div element is often used together with CSS to lay out a web pages. Previously, basic layouts and programs also discussed. There, that div element oftenly used together with the CSS layout a web pages. And here that same div element to style them with CSS and perform certain tasks in JavaScript. Here the default browser always places a inline break before and after the div element. So the div tag element, however, it can be changed with CSS cascade style sheets. So the important role is div tag the division or section in HTML document. So that particular div tag used a container for the HTML element to style them CSS, and then div element often used together with CSS to lay out a web page, and a default browser always play with line break before and after the element. However, this can be changed with CSS. CSS margin. So CSS margin property, it is used to create space around elements. So with outside of a defined border, so that CSS you have full control over the margin. There are properties for setting the margin for each side of the element, top, right, bottom and left. This margin individual side CSS properties for specifying the margin for each side of the element. CSS margin property used to create space around element outside of the defined border, not inside of the defined border, outside of the defined border. The full control over margin, there are properties for setting the margin for each side of an element, top, right, bottom and left. Here margin top, margin right, margin bottom, margin left. So it is a CSS property specifying the margin for each side of the element. CSS bedding. So here this CSS bedding properties are used to generate space around the element content. So inside of any defined border, so you can create or generate space around the element. The CSS have full control over padding. There are properties for setting the padding for each side of the element, top, right, bottom and left. Padding individual sides, so specify padding for each side of the element. So the padding also top, margin also top, bottom, right, left. Padding also top, right, bottom, left. So this CSS properties, it is generate space around an element content and full control over padding are properties for setting the padding for each side of element, top, right, bottom and left. Here padding individual sides properties specify the padding for each side of the element, padding top, padding right, padding bottom, padding left, like it is margin. Here margin also top, right, left, margin bottom, margin left. So this CSS property specifying the margin for each side of the element. Padding property specify the padding for each side of the element. Here it is element, there it is marginal pages. This property can have from 1 to 4 values. So here the padding property has 4 values. Here 5 pixel px into 15 px into 20 px. Here 10 px, 4 values. Top padding is 10 px, right side padding is 5 px, then bottom padding is 15 px and left padding is 20 px. Here it is called padding property has 4 values from 1 to 4 values. Here 1 it is padding in 10 px, like that. So 3 padding 3 values, property has 3 values. 3 values 10 px into 5 px into 15 px. Here top padding is 10 px, then right and left padding equal 5 px, bottom padding is 15 px. So the padding property of 3 values, the center property values 5 px, right and left padding are same. Then if padding values has 2 values 10 px and 5 px, the top and bottom padding is 10 px, left and right padding is 5 px, equal. That padding value 2, it is an equal padding values, left and right, top and bottom. So if the padding property has 1 value equal side, padding, the 4 paddings are 10 px only. So note, negative values are not allowed in this, only positive values. 4 values, that is properties padding values. Padding property has 4 values, padding property has 3 values, padding properties 2 values, padding properties 1 values. 1 values means all sides are equal. Negative values not allowed. That is the important thing. Negative value not allowed. It is the last slide for the CSS and CSS 4th unit. The only 2 practical remaining. The CSS box model is essential, a box that wraps around every element. It consists of margin, border, padding and actual content. The image below illustrates the box model example. The CSS box model is essentially a box that wraps around every HTML element. So here center it is content, after that it is padding, then border, after that margin. Here border is in between margin and padding. Here content is in center of the. So this box warp around every HTML element. It consists of margin. Margin is first border. Then after that border is second margin. Second one. Padding is third one. Then and the actual content is lost, that is for center box. The image below the box model is given below. It is like border only, it is colored by green. So remaining, so center is end content, next one is padding, border, and then margin. So that's all in CSS. CSS you have to learn through only practical, not that much to discuss. So syllabus also given only 2 hours. I took within 2 hours I completed CSS. This is for 4th unit. 3rd unit it is practical oriented Dream Weaver. The coding websites will discuss next class. But this practical CSS practical also will parallelly will upload or Saturday or Wednesday. Thank you very much.